bird, what do you want to do again? Eat. So then you eat more berries, and then you fly off, and you poop again, and then you eat more, and that whole thing over about 100 years, no fire, birds moving the seeds around, people plowing up and disturbing the ground, has caused these plants to take off. Now, if I take my finger, and if I just run right down the edge of that bark, and peel that off, you see that green stuff? I'm not going to do it on this one because it's got thorns. But that's cambium. All trees and shrubs, for the most part, have cambium. It's right under the bark. Trees grow out like this. Okay? They don't grow from their roots. Grasses and wildflowers grow from their roots. Trees don't. They grow out, and they grow from the ends of their branches where their buds are. Like that's a terminal bud right there. And then these are lateral buds on the side. They go like that, out, or they grow this way. Trees and shrubs in the United States that are supposed to be here, they have a thicker bark, especially once they get about my pinky diameter and bigger. They're insulated from fire. The plants that are from other parts of the world that we have to battle and keep out of the forest with prescribed fire, like these, they didn't grow up with fire. They haven't been around fire for thousands of years like our plant, because the fire doesn't occur in Europe and Asia like it does here. And they have, look at the really thin bark it's got. So if this buckthorn was sitting out in that field, and he is actually, when I broke this off of the shrub, you better be careful, because in about another week or so, I'm hoping our crews, I've been calling them up, get out here and light a prescribed burn, because the fire will come across and it'll burn through that bark and then kill the plant. That's one way that we get rid of it. That's why our crews go out into all sorts of habitats and light fire. Not just these two, but these are two of the main ones that we battle.
Question, you said European buckthorn. Is there an American buckthorn?
No, well, no, I don't think so.
Because we have that in our backyard.
You do.
Buckthorn.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone does.
All right.
Yep. There is not a native buckthorn in the eastern forest, I don't think.
Okay, wildfire party, your house.
Yeah, that's right. Or
It's great hedging.
that's why it was brought here.
Yeah.
That's the main reason it was brought on purpose for hedgerows.
Yeah.
Because in Europe, England, you see those little, remember you conjure up in your hedges, and a lot of it was that. So they brought it here. But it also came over accidentally in the 1600s and 1700s in soil that they were bringing over with their own plants. So it can get really bad. You go in that forest, back in this part of Ryerson, this part back all the way through that way, all the way over to the Des Plaines River, which is about a block that way, was drained, grazed, logged. They had a mill in there. The Ryersons who built the farm, who originally owned this property, they beat that part of the forest up pretty bad over time, and that's where we have the most buckthorn. We've gotten rid of most of the big stuff now here. And here's the cool thing, guys. Once you get rid of these plants, and they form a wall, it'll form a wall in there that'll block out the sunlight to the native plants. Once you get rid of them with fire or chopping them down, which is another thing we do, would be a better party in your backyard, lopping them off, then you'd be surprised, and I've seen it in the course of 1 year. The sunlight now gets back down to the plants' root systems and seeds, whether they're in a field or in a forest, and then boom, the native plants come back. They'll sit there and not grow for 40, 50, 60 years, just stunted, and then you get rid of the natives and then they take off again. See it all the time. You guys go up on St. Mary's Road. Did you notice all the cutting we did this past last winter? I don't know if you noticed the bloom that took off underneath those trees that we've left. Just in one summer, the plants took off again underneath them, the native ones that hadn't been growing. Okay, any questions on anything? That's why we do controlled burns. Our crews work with the local fire departments. Have you worked with our guy?
It's been a while, but I have worked with them. And
Yeah.
they're real good.
Yeah, and they're all
Real good
trained.
Group of guys.
They're all trained, and they have to pass tests and all that good stuff.
So one question I have is the project they're working on is how to how to proactively save animals that potentially are at risk of a fire. But it sounds like most animals are used to this through their history and they know to get out of the way.
Yep, and then along with those lines, if we can bring the native plants back, that's better food and better cover for them. Okay? So you don't want a monoculture, it doesn't do them any good. Raccoons, they don't mind, and deer don't mind, and there's a few others, they don't mind. But it's the other stuff, you know, that will come back if the natives come back, native plants come back.
My understanding out west, because of the prevention of fires, property, they dialed back the prescribed fires, and therefore the leaf litter has gotten so thick. So now their forest fires, which would have been benign, are now superheated.
Right.
And they destroy the soil and everything else.
Yeah,
It's just
all the microbes that are in there. So think about all the, you know, think about over the course of a year, trees fall down, sticks fall down, leaves fall down. Well, if they put the fires out and don't let the fires burn, that stuff just builds up. And then when there is a fire, it gets out of control. Yeah. Yep. Because it's so hot. You just said that.
Right.
The heat. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was I might have seen something. It might have been Yellowstone or something where they looked at the soil, and yet generally it burns the top coating, and they were digging down in the soil, and they saw that the soil was just burnt so deep down.
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time for that forest to rejuvenate.
Right. Right. That's all I got, guys.
Mark, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It all made sense and